and start showing this a few slides, not too many here, if I can find it. There it is. Okay. We'll start sharing this page. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the call. I appreciate you joining me tonight, and we have a special guest on that I'll be introducing in just a moment, and I'm really excited to hear from her. I don't know, I've heard her speak at a few meetings, but I didn't know much about her until I got a chance to really read about her and do some proper edification about our guest tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and introduce her as we get started here. Join me in welcoming our guest, 100K Brenda Cook from Ontario, Canada. And from what I understand, she lives a little ways, about an hour away from where the Mortons were raised. I know Gordon and Gabriella are on the call tonight. Welcome. And Brenda lives about an hour away from where they grew up, all those Morton boys. And I know that maybe there's some new guests on the call tonight that don't know who the Mortons are, but two of them are part of our 6 founders that we have for Zango, and just really appreciate and love both of those young men, and so proud of them, the positions that they've taken and their leadership roles that they've taken in our business. So I want to welcome Brenda and just tell you a little bit more about her before I dive into some questions with her tonight. As I said earlier, she lives in Ontario, Canada. This is a gal that's got some pretty good degrees. She's got a music degree and a biblical research. I'm not sure what that is exactly, but when you've got degrees in a couple different areas, you've got to be somebody that's pretty well learned. She's a mother of 3 sons, and 2 of those sons are active in a 20K and a 5K in Zango currently. She's a grandmother. I know that made us proud when we became grandparents. So a grandmother of 2. She used to freelance as a classical musician, working on Broadway shows, recording studios and symphonies in Ontario. She loved it, but she knew she was trading time for money and wanted something bigger. Brenda, I love this. Brenda retired her mouthpiece for a slice of the global bonus pool and royalty income, and now she has a business in many countries. Now, Brenda, when I was looking through a few websites that you have today, I came across a picture, and I gave you a heads up about this, so I know you had a little time to think about it. You had a picture on your website that said, "My road, my dreams, and my life." I know that when I put pictures up and it's got words in it, usually there's something that drew me to put that there. And so I'm going to ask you, what does that mean to you, Brenda? Welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm a Zango-phile in so many ways. From the day I chose the company to the product results that I've gotten and to the freedom that it's brought to my life. And that picture, I put that picture up on my blog. You know, I was a very successful person. I did have a really good career. But I was in a career which, you know, a lot of people experience this the hard way like I did. When your career is based on government funding and, you know, people having extra money to expend, sometimes that career can take a dive. And the government cut back on the arts, and I had to go out and get a part-time job. And I was working in an office in the mornings and then playing music in the afternoons and the evenings. And I had no free time at all. I was getting up at 5 in the morning and working literally all day and all night. And it's like anything, you know, you get a new job and you're like, oh, thank God I got that job. It'll help me pay my bills. And 2 years down the road, you can't get away from that job. It's got you. You have to stay there. And that's the trap that I was in. I had no time freedom whatsoever. I wouldn't even have put a dream down to take a trip to Florida because I had a boss and I had a career, and they took all my time, all my energy, and all my money. Well, the good news is that job that I took part-time to help me pay my bills, there was one guy in that office that loved network marketing. And every day at lunch break, that was all he talked about. And I had never heard about network marketing. He went on and on about it. He kept giving me books to read. And, I kept telling him, oh, forget it. Don't ask me. I have no time at all. I'm strapped. And then he would always ask me on payday, so what are you doing for the weekend? And I'd always tell him the same thing. I'm going to go home, pay my bills, and that'll be it. I'll have no money left over. And one day he said the magic words to me. He said, you know what? I've been listening to you say that every payday now for over a year. How many more years of your life do you plan to say that same thing? And I went home and cried because I finally realized that he was right. And I was stuck, and I couldn't get out because I had responsibilities. And I cried, and I went to the library, and I got some Robert Kiyosaki books and started to read and made a decision that I had to do something because I had to find some dreams. I had to find some freedom. And that's exactly what that picture means to me. And I came to Zango, and I knew nothing about network marketing except what I'd read in this book that this guy gave me. All I knew was I had juice. It made me feel better. I had to get people to drink it. And that was I didn't even understand the compensation plan, but, Kent Wood kept sending me checks, so I was happy. And it went from there, complete ignorance, but knowing. I knew enough. I'd read enough. This guy gave me enough books to read that I knew that this was a way for me to make money and that there were a lot of Americans that had become millionaires. And if I just worked hard enough and stayed put, maybe I'd be one of them. So every time I look at that picture, I remind myself exactly the reasons why I got into Zango. And you know what? It's been 8 years now. I've been with the company for 11 years. It's been 8 years, but the only reason I've set an alarm clock in those 8 years is if I got a flight to catch to go somewhere on a dream trip with the company. And aside from that, my life is my own. And so I do set my own road, my own dreams. Every day, I get up every day. Now, it's not like I'm sitting on a beach somewhere. I work hard. I'm not where I want to be yet with the company. And so I have the freedom to get up every day and design my day according to what I feel is best for me to build my business. And that, to me, that kind of freedom is worth so much. I can't begin to tell you what it means to me. So that's what that picture means.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Brenda. That's an awesome story of why. Why did you do that? What prompted you? What motivated you to, go beyond, here you're working 2 jobs basically, probably hardly ever home, and going out and finding what would work. And I'm so glad that you found Zango, over all the other things that are out there. You found one that's consistent and stable. And so we're excited to have you as a part of our team. I also wanted to have you share, because you had some great success with the mangosteen juice, Zango mangosteen juice. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll get into one of the current products.
Okay. Well, like I said, I joined for the money. I really didn't know anything about mangosteen, but all we had was these cases of juice, so I ordered one so I could start my business. I can still remember the day it came, and I kind of looked at it and I thought, well, I guess I better start drinking this. And I told the kids, don't drink that, it's mine. Well, it just never works when you have teenage boys. They were all taking little sips of it. And the bottles kept going down. No one would confess that it was them drinking it. But I had been diagnosed at 21 with colitis, and I was taking all kinds of, digestive enzymes and food combining and not eating bread and not putting this together with that. And I still lived with, pretty bad symptoms from that problem. And within a few weeks, my son said to me, how come you're not taking those handfuls of pills before you eat? And that was when it hit me. I thought, oh, my God, I don't have indigestion anymore. And I've never had another colitis flare-up or problem or issue. I joined the regular People's Club right then and there, my first month in Zango, and I really couldn't believe it. a few weeks went by, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just try a piece of that pizza that the boys have ordered, because normally I would never eat a piece of pizza. And I ate that, and I thought, oh, my gosh, I can eat pizza. And then I would try some lasagna. And now I'm just so happy. I eat whenever I feel like eating, and I don't have a problem. And for me, that was like getting out of jail, if you know anyone who's ever suffered with digestive issues. And then about 6 weeks after that, and again, I had 1 box of juice, and I was trying to drink an ounce 3 times a day. And the boys were stealing it, so I'd always run out 2 or 3 days before ADP time, and I'd be like the dog with my nose at the window thinking, where is that Purolator guy, waiting for my ADP to come. And about 6 weeks later, I got rid of all my arthritis symptoms, and I mean, they were so bad, I couldn't knit, I couldn't pick up a needle and sew on a button. Some days I had to cradle the pen in my fingers in a really weird way just to be able to write. I had rheumatoid arthritis. And, again, 11 years, and my symptoms went away, and they've never come back. So that's like getting out of jail for the second time. So, yeah, I'll always be with Zango, because I absolutely love the mangosteen.
Wow, Brenda, I identify with a few of the things you just talked about, in improvement of health. I was dealing with eating Rolaids every day about 4 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd start eating them. And just like yourself, I wasn't expecting anything to really happen, because I didn't know when we started a little over 14 years ago what was going to be the results. I just heard that, people got results, but I didn't think that was going to happen to me. And that was one of the first things that happened. I noticed that I wasn't eating Tums and Rolaids and all those things every day, and it's nice to be able to eat what you want when you want. And, eating when you want and what you want is a huge thing. We love to do that, and I know that, we probably shouldn't eat everything that we see. And coming up on the next thing that we're going to talk about is one of the newest products, and probably there's a number of people that haven't even been able to get a hold of this newest product. And I'll just give a little bit of background. Right at the first of the year, first weekend of the year, Zango introduced the PICS, and what PICS means is put it in Zango, and it's a great way to take it. And we have 3 products that they brought out, and it's a simple, effective weight management system with burn, control, and cleanse. Fabulous products. And Brenda, I know that you've seen some pretty tremendous results pretty quickly.
Well, I sure have, and I got lucky because the company was trialing mailing stuff back and forth across the border with different packaging things and so forth. And so I got an early set, and I consider myself really blessed to get that. And I just started taking it right away. The very first night I took the cleanse. And, it's such a gentle cleanse, but I could tell right away from the first morning when I woke up that already my whole area with my stomach and my liver and so forth was already starting to feel lighter. And I know we had a cleanse before, and anyone who's gotten used to that cleanse, you're going to love this one even better, because there's no anxiousness in the morning. It's gentle, and yet you can tell that it's working really well. So I love the cleanse. And then the burn, the first time I took it, I almost screamed because it's quite spicy. And I'm not someone who likes spicy food at all. But when I put it in my Zango juice, I don't have a problem taking that burn. And I knew within about half an hour of taking it, I felt really hungry. And to me, that's a sign that my metabolism had sped up as soon as I feel hungry. Because I normally go through my whole day and I eat because I know I'm supposed to eat, but I don't never sit there and say, gee, I'm really hungry. So I knew the burn was working. And so when I felt like I was hungry, I took a squeeze of the control, and guess what? I stopped feeling hungry. I went ahead and ate, but I didn't have cravings for the food. And I stayed doing that for a couple of days. And then my dear friend Joan Pretty phoned me and said, well, how much weight have you lost? And I said, well, I don't know. And she said, well, didn't you weigh yourself? And I said, no. because I'm not the kind of person who ever jumps on the scales, because remember me, I got rid of colitis. I don't really care all that much. I just want to eat and be happy. So Joan said, oh, for heaven's sakes, get on the scales. So I was like, oh, okay. So I went and dug out the scales and got on. And I'd already been on the product a couple of days. And from the time Joan got me on the scales to Saturday, which was 5 days, I went down 7 pounds in 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was pretty excited. And it continued to go down a few more pounds. And then for a few days, the weight stayed stable, which was really surprising, because even though I didn't see the scales going down, I could literally see my stomach going down. And you know what? The stomach has been I've tried before to lose weight. I've gone to Pilates classes and exercise classes. I've tried walking. I went and bought a cardio machine. I've tried everything, and nothing would make that stomach area go down. And I could literally get up every day and look at, oh, my God. You know, ladies that are on the call, you know, when you put your brassiere on, there's 3 things at the back that you hook it into, and you're either on the first one, the second one, or the third one. It doesn't vary. Every day it's the same thing. Well, I'm right at the very end of the brassiere now, like right up close to the one that I was never on before. So that's a sign that the size of my body and my body fat and my back fat are going away, even though I didn't see that on the scales. And then all of a sudden, about 5 days later after that, now the scale is starting to go down again as well. So I'm not an expert in how people lose weight, but I have to say that I've seen the first weight, let's say 9 pounds that I took off, has completely stayed off of my body. Plus, I've been taking some measurements, and I see inches coming off. I've got an inch off my upper arm, an inch off each of my thighs, and a couple of inches off my waist area. And that's within just over 2 weeks. I just started 2 weeks ago. So I'm really happy, because I am not one of those let's go play a sport kind of people. Like, I really don't like sports or exercise. So the reason I like this is because, you know, it isn't just like, oh, here, take this pill or drink this coffee. It's going to block all your carbs and your body won't absorb fat. I don't think that's healthy. I think you're meant to eat, reasonable amount of food in a balanced diet, and that fat is actually something your nerves and your body and your heart needs. So I don't believe in taking products that all they do is block your body from absorbing food properly. So I'm thankful Zingo's brought out something that allows you to cleanse your organs in a very healthy, gentle, consistent way, and then speed up the metabolism. You know, it's better to eat a balanced diet and have your metabolism working faster and burning off the unnecessary fat. And then the Control is a beautiful product. It's really tasty. I take it without even the juice. And to have that on hand. So everybody knows you shouldn't eat past 8 o'clock at night. So there you go. If you're somebody who's, reaching for the cheesecake at 9:30 or 10, well, there you go. Reach for the crave instead. So I love it. It's simple. I feel like I found a lifetime solution, Like I noticed in the frequently asked questions, it says do this for 3 months and then take a week off and then do it again. So I'm thinking, hey, this is something I'm just going to be able to use for the rest of my life to keep myself down in the shape that I'm really going to be happy to be in. So it's a great product.
Yes, these are absolutely fabulous products, folks. And Brenda, we're seeing posts on Facebook. We're hearing from other distributors and other customers that are having results. And a lot of them, many of them are saying, I lost a pound a day, and that's what actually happened to myself. I don't know if I've shared this with you, Brenda, but Carol and I, my wife and I, had gone into Joe Morton's office. We live 8 miles from the corporate office, and went down to see him. And like you, I didn't know they were shipping it across the border, but that's awesome that they were doing that for you. But we were able to go down, and Joe said, well, I'd like to have you guys try this out. And I go, okay, great. Well, I had stepped on the scale a few days just before we went down, so I knew where I was at, and began to take that. And 10 days later, and this is over the Christmas holiday and things, 10 days later, I stepped on the scale, and it was 10 pounds down. And I went, what? How can this happen? And we're hearing this from many, many people, not just occasional here and there, but many, many people. So extremely effective 3 products, the burn, cleanse, and control. I love them too. They and you know what? I know that in the past years, not so much with Zango, but over our married life, we tried different things. And Brenda, you've probably done this too, where you've, metabolic things, and we'd take them and you just go into this hyper state. and when you hear about metabolics, but this doesn't do that at all. It just raises your metabolism. You feel warm. And when it burns off that weight, it does a fabulous job. And like yourself, I've noticed it sort of stopped, but the inches keep coming off. I'm down to the last buckle on the belt, and the pants are still starting to, drag. So it's still coming off.
Even when I didn't see the pounds coming down, I was, my brassiere clasp was going further. My coats, I felt like I could stick my whole arm inside my coat instead of, it used to be my stomach touched the coat where the buttons stood up. Same thing with the pants. It's a really great feeling. I love it.
It is, and it's so simple just to, I tend to take everything once at a time, and maybe that's not right. I tend to do that just so I don't forget things later in the day and go, did I take that or what? Mm. But I like to mix everything together. I'm sort of crazy that way, but I absolutely love the ease of doing this just, so simply in a few ounces of juice.
Yes. I will say I've had one girl, because I did order a couple sets in the pre-launch, and I had one girl phone me this morning at 8 o'clock. She got out of bed. This is just a tip for us when we're teaching people how to use the product properly. She got out of bed this morning on an empty stomach. She doesn't have Zango juice at her house, so she put 2 squeezes of the burn in a small glass of water and drank it. And 10 minutes later, she got a really big niacin flush. And so she was panicking because she was flushed everywhere from the niacin in the product. I didn't get that because I always take mine with Zango juice and usually right when I'm about to eat, because it says, twice a day. So I do it in the morning, I do it with lunch. So I said to her, there's niacin. Oh, she goes, there's niacin. I didn't read the label. I said, well, it's probably best if you're someone who's sensitive to niacin to take it with some food. So later on in the afternoon, I got a text from her, and she texted me, and she said, Victory, I just took my 2nd dose with my lunch, and I have no niacin flush from it. So
awesome.
Just a tip. You might want to tell people not to get out of bed in the morning and take it on an empty stomach. Take it with their breakfast.
There are so many different results, and I've got different results too, but I don't want to take the time to go into that. We've gone on here a little over 20 minutes, and we need to wrap it up. But thank you so much, Brenda, for sharing tonight. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of people making comments. They want to know where the recording is, and these are at xuevents.com, where if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see where they're archived, and then on Facebook too. There's a link there to those too. So this will probably be up and posted by tomorrow sometime. Please don't forget next week, our Maximize Monday call for next week. These have been fabulous calls every Monday. I didn't get a notice on who was going to be on, but just realize, let's get our new people to these calls so they can hear the excitement. They can hear about our business opportunity. We didn't go too far into that, but you can see our business opportunity changes lives. So thank you so much, Brenda, and everyone for joining us. And we'll say good night. Have a great week. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday morning also on the XU training webinar. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night.